Hi everyone. Can you just pop your hands up if you can all hear me and if you can see the screen, please? Fabulous, thank you. So this evening it gives me great pleasure to introduce you all the lovely Sophie Starkey. Sophie's a manager in Sam's team in the UK, and I had that absolute pleasure of meeting Sophie in South Africa Global Rally this year, and she is one of the nicest people that I've ever met, and she's so inspiring. So I'm really, really excited for you to hear her story. Sophie's been a forever for, I think it's just over 2 years. She's a senior Eagle manager. She's qualified for Chairman's Bonus +1 and is a 2.5k qualifier, and she is only 26. So she's a real, real diamond in the making. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to you all. Sorry, I'm just gonna 1 second have a look for Sophie on here so that I can unmute her. Sorry, I have to minimise my screen. Just bear with me 1 second and I'll mute myself. Where are we? Sophie. Okay, mute Sophie. Hi Sophie, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me okay, babe?
Perfect, perfect. Let me just find myself just to mute me a minute. Perfect, hold on a second. Right then, lovely, I'm going to mute myself and I'll put your screen on and then I'll do the slides for you, okay?
Thanks, honey. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So that was a lovely introduction. Hi, everyone. So it's my absolute pleasure tonight to be tuning in to talk to you all and just sharing a little bit about me. Some of you may have heard me before, and I can talk for England. I start laughing at my own jokes. I think I'm really funny, but I'm a really confident person normally, but I am so nervous to do this. I can talk about anything, but talking about myself and showing my journey is like quite a big thing. So bear with me. I might start crying, or if I go quiet, it's because I'm just holding back the tears. But yeah, so I'm excited to share my journey. And what I'm just going to say is, if I talk about anything and you guys want to ask me anything, then either raise your hand or write a message to Claire. And then what I can do at the end is I can open it up for some questions, or maybe even just message me on Facebook, because I'm logged into Facebook, and I can answer any questions that pop up. So yeah, so I well, Claire's just told you, so I started my business 2 years ago now, so it was August 2014 when it all started. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take you right back and just introduce you to my background and just tell you a little bit about me and how then I came across Forever, and tell you how I've built my business and the things that have driven me and my why, so that it can help you to better understand. And if it just inspires just one person tonight, then it'll be well worth doing. So if we can skip to the next slide. So there's a silver spoon on the screen, and I'll explain that. So it says here, I wasn't supposed to be successful, but I always knew that I would be. So often I'll meet people now, and I think people think that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Like, a lot of my friends like take the mick at me because I like the finer things in life. And what is it that Mark's dad always says about me? He's like, you would think Sophie came from a family of millionaires the way that she is. He doesn't say it in a bad way, he's joking. But actually, tonight I'm going to explain a little bit more about my background, and you'll understand that I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth at all. So if we go to the next slide. So growing up, so in this picture here, you can see there's a picture of me and my mum. There's me in my Adidas tracksuit. I don't know what the hat is, it's awful. And then it's talking about bipolar there, which I'll explain to you in a minute. So I grew up, I lived with my mum. My mum and dad aren't together. And my mum suffered with bipolar, so I was always the parent. And I had to look after her quite a lot. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so bipolar, for those of you that don't know what that is or don't know much about it, this picture explains it really well, which you can see on the right hand side, and it says the three phases of bipolar disorder, and it's manic, hypomanic and depressive. So when I used to go home, I never knew what I was going home to. My mum can be 1 minute high and happy and excited, and the next minute she's really depressed, and sometimes I'll lash out, and you know, it wasn't her fault. And when I'm talking tonight, this isn't to talk about my mum in a negative way at all. It's just to help you to understand a little bit more about me, really. So yeah, so growing up, I had a bit of not a difficult childhood, because everyone has things that happen in their life, but I kind of was the parent of the family, looked after my mum, and I've always been like looking after my family, and I'm that one that they all turn to. So I went to, where am I? Just thinking now. So yeah, so I haven't got many qualifications. So I went to school. I did averagely. I did okay, and then I went to, yeah. So I did college. I did all right at college as well. And then when I was 18, I started a course. It would have been like, if I'd have finished it, it would have been a degree, and it was in business and law and finance. So I did 1 year of that. I absolutely hated it. I don't know about it if I've been in a classroom. I'm terrible in classroom environments. My attention span's awful. But while I was doing that, what happened was I'd gone home one day and my mum had had like a funny turn. So as I said before, really, you just never know what you're going home to, and you have to kind of separate the disorder from the person. So when I'm talking about my mum like this, it's not her, it's just an illness. But I went home one day when I was 18, and my mum decided, I can't even remember what started it, but basically my mum threw me out. So I got home. I was with my sister, who is my dad's daughter, which probably wasn't a good idea looking back. But anyway, me and my sister had gone home. My mum was on a funny turn. She was like, right, you don't spend any time here, da-di-da-di-da. So my mum throws me out the house, literally throws me down the stairs and out the house. And I'm laughing because it's funny, but it's not funny, but you know. Yeah, so my mum throws me out. So I'm 18, and I need to get a job. So I needed to get a job because I needed to find somewhere to live. God, I find this hard to talk about. I don't know why. I don't really talk about it, that's why. Yeah, so I needed to find somewhere to live, so I got a job, and that's where it took me to Barclays. So I think it's the next screen if we go to that. Yeah, so I got my job at Barclays. That's what led me to do that. So I actually left my degree because I had to work full time. I had no choice. But for me to have got that job, it was actually a pretty good job for me to have. So as I've said, I don't really have like major qualifications and stuff. And my friend Charlotte Lydiard, who's in the team, you may know her, she got me the job there. And then I started off, I was a cashier for like 2 years, and then and then I kind of worked my way up, and I was a personal banker. So I got a pay rise from that, and I was doing okay for myself. Then through my job at Barclays, I met my partner Mark, and then that was, I can't even remember, 5 years ago now. So met my partner Mark. I then brought my dream home. I got my dog that I'd always wanted, and I forgave my mum. So everything kind of turned out okay. And on paper, my life looked absolutely perfect. But if we go to the next screen. Yeah, so these are some pictures here. So I've got my dog with my dream home. There's me in my Barclays uniform, and life is brilliant. But what happened next, again, if we click to the next screen, what happened next was, so I was working at Barclays, and just, this was 2 years ago now, so the recession kind of hit a bit late in the bank, so they'd started making like redundancies. We had to do a lot more work for a lot less money. There was a lot of things in the news about banks, and it became just a very negative place to work because the customers that were coming in hated the bank, and they'd just get angry about the situation, and it just was so negative. The staff were negative, the customers were negative. It was an awful place to work. And then I started to get quite poorly. I started to get really anxious. I hated going to work. I actually wouldn't have gone to work. Mark used to have to drive me to work and pick me up every single day, else I wouldn't have gone. It was, yeah, and Charlotte, so I spoke about Charlotte that got me the job. She'd like, I'd run away from the customers crying because it was just awful, and I didn't even have anything to be, I felt awful because my life on paper was perfect. I didn't have anything to feel anxious about or upset, but it was my job, that was the thing that was affecting my life. So it says there something was missing, and that thing was forever. So if we click to the next slide, at that time, so it was July that kind of all started, so July 2 years ago, I can't even remember what year it'd be, 2014. And Maddie Harrott, so my friend Maddie Harrott had actually started her Forever business, and I was her customer. So it's really funny actually. Maddie invited me to her product launch. She was like, I've started this new business, and sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. I've started this new business. Will you come to my product launch? I'm having a party and da da da. And I just remember thinking, because I was so like anxious and not enjoying my job at the time, I didn't really do much socially. I'd just literally go to work, go home, feel miserable, go to work the next day, go home, and so on. So when she invited me to this thing, I was like, oh, can't be bothered with that. So I just literally made up an excuse and just said, no, I think I'm going out for dinner or something. Anyway, she texted me in the evening and said, oh, you know, can't believe you let me down. No one came. Da 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 da. Will you hold one for me at your house? And because I'd just moved into my dream home, I was like, yeah, of course I will. So I did a product launch for her here, with all my friends from the bank, and they all ordered stuff. I ordered stuff. I used to drink the yellow gel, and I'd use the tooth gel, and I never thought anything more of it. And actually, if I admit now, I was really stuck up about the business. I remember when she was doing the product launch and she was talking about that she was going to leave her floristry job and this, that and the other. I just remember thinking, it's just Avon. Like, you can't do that in this business. It's stupid. And I really was one of those annoying people that just doesn't get it. So I carried on. Like, every month I'd take orders to Maddie and be like, so-and-so wants this and so-and-so wants that. And Maddie would say, yeah, but you know, you could be earning the money from this. And I was like, yeah, but I don't need to. So yes, I never looked at the business, and 5 months went by of Maddie building her business, and I saw her achieving things on Facebook, not really understanding it. So, you know, when you've got like skeptical friends and people that that snub you basically, or just say negative things, it's really just because they don't understand it. And I understand that because I was one of those people. So take that from me. It's literally a lack of education and a lack of understanding about the business. And actually, if I think about it now, the whole time, I just wanted to know more about the business. The reason that I was so negative is because probably I was feeling a little bit, well, what is it that Maddie's doing that I'm not doing? And I remember I used to see her going to all these events thinking, oh, I want to go to them. I was almost waiting for an invitation, but because I was so negative about it, no wonder like Maddie never mentioned it to me in that nature and just let me be her customer. So if you've got people like that, think about me. And actually, I was just waiting to be asked. So anyway, one day I went for lunch with Maddie and I was asking her questions like, well, if it's that good, why doesn't everyone do it? It sounds too good to be true. And I'd say all things like that to her, and do you know what? She answered perfectly. She obviously used to feel felt found on me, but she didn't really justify. She was just like, you know, you can get these cars. I'm going to be going on this free holiday. And she never said one day, I hope I will be doing this. She was like, I will, and I can, and I am, and use that kind of language, and I believed her. And she said, I'll tell you what, why don't you come and see it for yourself? I'm going to a business presentation on Monday. Come with me. So the Monday came, I went to the business presentation, and funnily enough, when I'd gone to work, I said to Charlotte, oh, I'm going to this business presentation on Monday night with Maddie. It's for that forever thing. And Charlotte went, you know, it's £200, don't you? If you think about our conversations now, they're really funny. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do it anyway. So I decided I was joining the business before I even got to the business presentation. I didn't even know what it was. I just knew that I wanted to do it. So, yeah, so I got started there and then, and that was August 2014. Had my first planning, so that's that picture there at my house with my first steps to manage a book. And I remember just writing goals like just very materialistic things, like I wanted to leave my job, I wanted a white Range Rover, I wanted to go to Hawaii, and I wanted to pay for it because I used to go on these holidays and things, but I think I just expected Mark to make all my dreams come true, and I never actually thought that I would be able to achieve it myself. What else? So they were just all very materialistic things. You know, when you have like the family box, I'd actually written nothing in it. It was all about me. So started, and basically the first month of my business, I did 6 case credits. So I recruited my friend. No, did I? Yeah, ordered my box, which was 2 case credits at the time, and then I recruited my friend, which was another 2 case credits, and I did a product launch, which I absolutely did not want to do. Maddie made me do it, and there was another 2 case credits because I did really well out of that. So there was 6 case credits that I ended on. I thought I was brilliant, and I thought it was easy. And then in October, I went on holiday. October? No. Let's rewind. That was August. Then September I went on holiday, and I think I did like 1 or 2 case credits, if that. And I was like, oh, do you know what? This is rubbish. This is really hard. It was all right for Maddie. She just was lucky, but this isn't for me. It's too hard. So I was actually going to give up. So what changed? So I think if we actually go to the next slide. Yeah, I'll talk about that now. But yeah, so what changed in me? The thing that changed was when I come back from a holiday, where I worked said, actually, we want you to work at Tamworth instead of Lichfield. So these two places, I'm talking to you as if you know, you're in Dubai, you're not going to know where that is, are you? These two branches were like 20 minutes apart, if that. But I did not want to go and work at Tamworth. I really didn't. So I was like, that was one thing that just changed in me. And the other thing was that I went to Success Day in the October, and it was when Aidan had come over. It was the Managers Summit, I think, and that was why Aidan was in the UK. And I just saw that it wasn't just okay for Maddie, that actually there were hundreds of people that were really successful in the business. And if they could do it, then why couldn't I? And I just saw that it was just normal people. So those are the two things that changed. So, you know, when people join your team and then they go to new distributor land or no man's land, don't give up on those people. They may have said yes to you, but they didn't mean yes. But then something will just happen in their life and then they're really ready. And that's what happened to me. I wasn't ready. I was happy to sort of dip my toe a little bit. And I was happy to kind of see it as a bit of a hobby, and I wasn't that bothered about it. But then when I was really ready and things changed in my life, that's when I was ready to run with it. So it says here, I was scared, but it scared me more if nothing changed. And that's the truth. I needed to earn an income because I just needed to get out of that job that was just consuming all of my energy and just zapping me and making me into somebody that I wasn't. So what did I do then? So I learned how to do a product launch. So I've just kind of mentioned that. Maddie was like, you need to do this product launch. I didn't want to do it. I hated it, dreading it. I think we've all been there. And you get there and you're like, what was I so worried about? All I'm doing is sitting in my living room, drinking a glass of wine, talking about products. So all my friends ordered loads of products and they became regular customers. So that was that ticked off. I knew how to do a product launch. So I think Maddie showed me one and then I did them on my own after that. I learned how to do a great one-to-one. So I didn't get the chance to see anybody show me how to do a one-to-one because Maddie still worked full-time in the florist when I started, and I was available during the daytime. So my first ever one-to-one was with Deborah Bullen. I'd met her in Next, so I was in Next buying a salt and pepper shaker from the Christmas range. And a conversation started at the till, and I was such a shy person. I wasn't even used to speaking to people. I was so shy, and I was just practicing just talking to people at a till. But you'll see that when you do that, even if you don't intend for the conversation to go somewhere, it just does, because people moan about the jobs, or they'll moan about working weekends or Christmas and so on, and that's exactly what happened here. So I was paying, and Deb said, I said, I love all the Christmas stuff that you've got out, da-di-da-di-da. And she said, I hate Christmas. And like, what a weird statement to make. I said, why do you hate Christmas? And she was like, oh, because I have to work the Boxing Day sales, and I have to get up at 4 o'clock the next morning. It just ruins Christmas, really. And I've got children. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I need to tell her about Forever, but what the hell am I going to say? I nearly swore then. But what the hell am I going to say? So on one of my shoulders, I've got this little man going, oh my God, you need to tell her about Forever. This is the best thing that's going to ever happen to her. And on my left shoulder, I've got someone going, Sophie, you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing yourself. You don't even know what to say. Just shut up. You'll sound stupid. So I blurted out of my mouth. I just couldn't leave without telling her. I blurted out of my mouth, you'd be really good at what I do. And she went, what do you do? And I just said, well, I'm not going to tell you now because you won't believe me. And then I didn't have business cards at the time because I was so new to the business. I had a leaflet, so, you know, top 10 reasons to join Forever. I had one of those in my bag, so I just gave her that, scribbled my number down in the corner, literally ran out the shop as fast as I could because I didn't want her to ask me another question because I didn't know the answer to the question. 2 weeks went by and she called me. And I am rubbish on the phone. When I worked in the bank and they used to say that you had to phone customers, I'd always just say I got the answer phone. But she called me and I just remember thinking I just need to get off the phone as fast as I can. So I was like, oh, should we just meet up? And she said, yeah, we arranged it. Got off the phone. I thought, thank God for that. And then I was like, oh God, I've actually got to go and meet her now. So I went to meet Debs. I'd never done a one-to-one before, so all I did was I listened to I used the one by Faye Daly. It's Faye Daly, How to Do a One-to-One, with the normal one-to-one slides, not the business presentation slides. I listened to that all the night before, like over and over again, and then I listened to it even when I was in the car on the way there. And I know we always give this advice, like go in really excited, but then let go of the outcome. But that's exactly what I did. I just thought, I'm just going to go, I'm going to experience this, I'm going to throw myself into it, and then it doesn't matter if she joins or not because I've learned from the experience. So, sorry, I forgot what I was saying. So, get to this one-to-one, and I just did it. And you know the part where it's like about the finances and stuff, she had to help me with how to do it because she was like, oh, what's this and what's that? And I was like, oh, I don't know, let's just skip that part. And then we worked it out together. Anyway, she said yes there and then. So that was my first team member for my first one-to-one. So a lesson that I learned from that is that you really can't do anything wrong because they don't know that you don't know what you're doing. So, you know, if your sponsor can't be there to go and show you how to do a one-to-one, just throw yourself in at the deep end. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that they're going to say is no. They're not going to walk out halfway through and say, you don't know what you're doing, this is crap. Just do it. That's what I did, and it's the best thing that I could have done because one-to-ones is my thing now. I knew how to do them. I showed all my team how to do them, and that's how I built my business so fast, because we all knew how to do a great one-to-one. So that's probably one of the key pieces of advice that I can give. Learn how to do a great one-to-one, and you can't do it wrong anyway. Just be you and enjoy it. Pups. So I just got loads of pups out, so everyone that came to my product launch all had a pup. I put my pup on Facebook. I booked it out to loads of people that way. All of my family who didn't support me, my family didn't buy a thing from me, but I gave it to them anyway and got referrals from them. And it's just about asking for referrals. Even if your friends and family aren't interested, just ask them for referrals and you'll find people that are. And with pup drops, just as well, it's about making sure that they go to the right people. So what I actually do now is I target people and I'll just message them, people that I think will like nice products and look good and like to look good and take care of themselves. I'm like, do you want to try my products? Rather than advertising it on Facebook like I used to. That's just something that I've changed and it tends to work better for me. That's just a little tip. You're all right, Claire?
I thought I was muted. I'm so sorry.
I'll carry on as long as you're all right. Right, so tabletops, I hated them. That's probably the worst thing that I hated, but I did them anyway until I got good at them. So anything that you don't like doing, just do them. And you know, it's not, I don't actually do regular tabletops now because it's just something that just doesn't work for me, but different things work for different people. So I might be able to do a great pup drop and a great product launch, whereas you might be able to do a great tabletop. And everyone's different, but the first couple of tabletops that I did, I was like, oh, this is rubbish, I'm rubbish at this. But the one that I went to, I met a girl that had this little craft business. And I've stayed in touch with her and I'm still prospecting her now, and she may or may not join my business, but that wasn't a wasted activity. Nothing that you do is a waste of time. Another tabletop that I did, I had someone join my team from like 7 months afterwards, so at the time I thought it was a waste of time, but actually it wasn't because she joined 7 months later. Contact marketing, as I've just told you, that scared me the most, but once I did it I was like, oh my God. So, I forgot to tell you, so Deb has gone on to become a senior manager herself. She's an Eagle manager. She's Chairman's Bonus qualified. She was my +1 at Chairman's Bonus. She's got an amazing business. She's got a Flow Mojo leg, has become an amazing friend. And that was from that conversation. So if I'd have let the little bird on my right shoulder win and I hadn't have spoken to her and just not even knowing what I was doing, then my business wouldn't be where it is today. And you know, there's such a fine line in life through so many things where you could not do something or do something and then it makes a massive ripple effect and a massive knock on. Just take that chance, because what's the worst? Always think, what's the worst that can happen? And then if I can give you any, like, not advice, but something to think about at that moment where you're really crapping yourself and you don't want to give the business card, just think about me and Deb and think, I could have Sophie's business and my business could be like her and Deb. And yeah, I've got on there asking for referrals, which I've already told you about. Next slide, please, Claire. So through doing all of that activity, I reached supervisor so I went from 2 case credits in September, and then in October I did 18 case credits. So you can see the massive jump in case credits just by going to Success Day and having the vision. So actually, I did a really brave thing when I got to supervisor. You know, I said I didn't want to go to that Tamworth branch that was like 20 minutes down the road. I got to supervisor and I sacked the boss, which I am not advising anyone to do. That was a massive risk. It just was my circumstances at the time meant that actually me and Mark agreed that I had 6 months, so from the October until the March, to reach manager and have replaced my income. And he paid the mortgage for 6 months, but if I didn't replace my income by then I had to go and get another job. So that was my ultimatum. I'm just one of them people that I'm either all in or I'm all out. So that was just something that worked for me on my journey, but I'm really not advising anyone to do that. It was a massive risk. So yeah, so I got to supervisor and I sacked the boss. What actually happened, this might make you laugh. So I was meant to it's just funny. I shouldn't even be saying this. There's probably Barclays people logged in. No, I'm joking. Okay, it's not that bad. So I was meant to go to this Tamworth branch on the Monday morning, and I got to supervisor. I'd had this conversation with Mark. I was like, right, I'm not going. So the Monday morning came, and my new boss rang me and was like, Sophie, it's 9 o'clock. And you're not here, where are you? And because they'd messed me around so much, I told them that I wasn't going before, and I just don't think they believed me. So I rang her back and I was like, I'm just not coming in. She went, what do you mean you're not coming in? I was like, I'm just not coming in. I told you I wasn't coming and I'm not coming. Anyway, I was never seen at Barclays again, and the rest is history. But I thought that would make you laugh. But anyway, so given that ultimatum, I had to build my business. At that time, I didn't really have much of a team. Obviously I'd gone from working full-time to then having all this free time, so I just filled my days with activity. I literally, if I didn't have anything to do, I'd go around shops, contact marketing, I'd watch training videos, but it wasn't just about watching training videos and sitting at home on Facebook. I made sure that I was doing case credit producing activity. I was out dropping put boxes to people. I was talking to people all the time, and then when I recruited team, I was able to really support them. And if you're not in a position to do what I did, because I know that I wasn't working full-time at that time, recruit for your upline to help you, or someone that has got that free time to help you out, so then eventually you will be able to leave your job or free up some time somewhere so that then you can manage your own team, if that makes sense what I've just said. Next slide, please. Okay, so what obstacles did I face? I had quite a lot of obstacles. So it says there, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So I actually had negativity from all of my family. I think I mentioned earlier, not one of them supported me. I remember going to, I was sitting in a room with my dad, my stepmom and my grandparents, and I was like, oh, I've started this new little aloe vera business, it's called Forever Living. And my granddad has an opinion about everything. He's one of them people that reads the paper and everything that he reads in it, he takes as the truth. And he has a lot of opinions and he's not scared to tell people what they are. So I'm sitting in this room and he goes, oh, that Forever Living, your cousins did that and they weren't very successful, it's a load of rubbish. How do you think you're going to make money selling aloe vera? It's been around for thousands of years, you won't make any money doing that. Then at the same time I've got my dad there going, why don't you do a dog walking business? And I'm like, dog walking, Dad? I don't even walk my own dog. And then they're all thinking of these ideas and I just said, well, I've started this now, and my cousins might not have done it very well, but I'm going to do it properly. I could have, at that moment, I felt so, what's the word? I felt so like they'd really knocked my confidence, and I just remember feeling like I just wanted to cry and like run out of the room. Again, it was another moment where I could have just gone, do you know what? I'm just gonna go to work and ignore this business. There's been so many like fine lines, but I believed in the business. I knew what was possible, and all I needed to do was the activity to get me where I wanted to be. And I knew that if other normal people had been successful, then why not me? These people weren't born with silver spoons in their mouths either. They've just been determined and just done the basics consistently. I worked through my anxiety, so I actually used my focus. Instead of focusing on the way that I was feeling and how anxious I was feeling, I moved that focus to forever, threw myself into the business, and just knew that if I did forever, I didn't have to go back to work, so that was going to crush my anxiety anyway. Driving, so I had to get over this massive obstacle. So well, I would say guess how many times it took to pass my driving test, but there's no one there to guess. So yeah, so it took me 9 times to pass my driving test. I passed on my 9th test. So yeah, driving isn't something that comes naturally. I'm not very good at it. As I've mentioned earlier, even Mark used to drive me to work and pick me up every day, and work was only 5 minutes down the road. And I never drove more than like 10, 20 minutes away from home. So even though I had a driving license, I really couldn't drive. I was awful. So yeah, so driving was awful, but again, it was just one of them things. I knew I had to do it if I wanted to build a team. How was I going to go and support a team from all over the UK if I couldn't drive to them? How was I going to go to BP? How was I going to do anything if I couldn't drive? So I made myself, even though Maddie lived 5 minutes down the road and we could have drove to BP together every week, I'd make myself drive there, even if it meant following someone, and I just got myself out of my comfort zone. And just, you may have heard this before in Forever, like loads of times, but you really do have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's exactly what I did. And now that's one of the best things that the business has given me, not being able to drive, but just having the confidence to be able to go where I want when I want, which is something that I couldn't do before. Like driving on a motorway, oh my god, I'd stop and like have a panic attack on the side of the road, but now I can drive anywhere. And in my Range Rover, thanks to Forever, which I know that's a material thing, but it's just one of them things that the business has given me. Fear, I just had to overcome fear and do it anyway. Confidence and caring what people think. I was one of those people that never even used to really post on Facebook. I would just literally post my holiday pictures and the odd thing and like talk to my friends. And I hated when Maddie said I had to like put things on Facebook about business. I hated, and I used to think, what will people think? And a lot of people gave their opinions and didn't support me, and even like wrote sarcastic things on my Facebook, but I just killed them with kindness and I never reacted to it. And just ploughed on and ploughed on. And it's just, Forever is no different to any other business. Every business faces adversity. Businesses, what successful business do you know that hasn't had something bad written about them in the paper, or hasn't had someone say a negative opinion about it? And Forever is no difference to that. So if you see it as a business, actually all of these obstacles are just part of the journey, and every business has peaks and troughs, and it is a business. And I think we take it for granted because we only invested £200 into it. But actually, if we'd have invested 20 grand into it, would we be as bothered about these things? Probably not. So always treat it as if you've like invested like 20 grand, and that's how I always think of it. And a massive obstacle, not an obstacle, but I'll tell you a little bit more. So the reason that I mentioned my mum in all of this at the beginning is because that's actually my why. And I didn't realise what it was that drove me in life. Like, what was it that drove me to take my driving test 9 times and not give up? What is it that makes me so determined? And it is because of my mum, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I would actually do anything not to be like that. So when I had anxiety when I was working at the bank and I wasn't very well, it reminded me that I was turning into my mum, and this was the worst thing that anyone could tell me, that I was going to be like that. Or if I was having a lazy day, or if I didn't want to get up and go and do some Forever work that day, that's the thing that drives me. It's a negative influencer, and sometimes when you've actually got a negative influencer, that's going to push you more than things that you want. So you could say, oh, you know, I want a red Ferrari, I want a Range Rover, I want to live in my dream home. Okay, they're things that you want, but it doesn't make you uncomfortable enough to go and get it because you're comfortable in your current life. But if you've got a negative influencer, that's going to push you right out your comfort zone, and you'll do anything for it. Well, that's what I found anyway. So that's my why. So that's the why of the why of the why. And that's what drives me. And that is not a negative thing towards my mum, but it's just something in life that I know that what I don't want to be. And when I was working at Barclays, I was turning into that person that I didn't want to be, and Forever got me out of that. So yeah, if we move to the next slide, please, Claire. So duplication, this is where my success came from. So these are my tips on duplication. So to build the kind of business that I've built, so I had a retail business quite quickly, which I've explained about that. But where did the income come from? To build an income where I could leave my job and then earn a lot more than that going forward, I knew I needed to duplicate. And how did I do that? So I cared more about my team than myself. So basically, once I achieved supervisor, I stopped thinking about my own goals, and I genuinely cared about people. And all I did was just help people get to supervisor and help them get to the positions that they wanted, and put my focus into my team and just forgot about what it was that I wanted. And if you have a genuine interest in people's lives other than forever, they'll feel that and they'll want to work with you. I always look for people to work with that are like me, or that I have a genuine friendship with, because I know that we can work together. There is no point in me going to recruit someone that's a polar opposite to me and we can't get on, because I'm not going to be able to help them. And it's about being genuine in the business as well. I took responsibility to my own business. So like I said, I didn't rely on Maddie. You can run this business, and this is what I love about this business, is that you can have complete control over it. The only person in control of my business is me. I don't need an upline and I don't need a downline. That doesn't mean I'm not grateful to my upline or my downline, but I know that I can control my business because I can recruit some more people, I can help some more people develop. You know, you don't need an upline. There's so much training out there. So if you're in a position where, you know, you don't feel connected with your upline, or maybe your upline's left the business, go to the person above them, go and get help from them, or go to your sideline. There's so much training. You don't need those things. Just take responsibility for yourself. You know, Maddie was, as I said, was working full-time on that day when I had that one-to-one. So I went and got some training and learned how to do it myself, and just be self-taught. The more I learned, the more I earned. So that's so true. You just need to throw yourself into the training, but don't be a training junkie, be a doing junkie as well. My tip with that is I watch a training video and I just make notes, and my writing's like spider writing. I'm not very academic. But then what I'll do is I'll have a neat book for all of my training, and I'll then go and write it out again in neat. And when I've written it a second time, I tend to remember it more. Work deep into the team. So I treat everyone in my business as if I sponsored them directly. And I don't cut people out in between, but I also don't make any apologies for working deep into my team. And we all do that, and that creates a really good environment. It doesn't matter who's in your pay line and who's not. Just work with everyone and it creates the right culture. The only way to build momentum is to do it yourself. So as a leader, I knew I couldn't stand there and say, you do this and you do that and you do the other, and I'll just sit back in my chair. My team follow what I do, so I recruit people into my team. I'm retailing. When I do anything, I'll post it on the team page to show how I'm following up customers or the sales that I've made, how I've done that I'm dropping orders off, that I've recruited this person into my team, I've learned this today, this is where I went wrong, these are the lessons that I've learned, and I share it with my team so they can see that I'm building too. Because your team are copying you even if you don't know about it, or if you don't realise it. That's how you build a business, just by doing it yourself. And if you just keep doing what you're doing, your team will eventually follow. I've put there learning the basics to a high standard consistently. So consistency is everything. I realised that I couldn't just have a day where I contacted 20 people and then did nothing the next day, or I went out and did 7 pup drops and then did nothing the next week. I knew that I needed to do this just a little bit and touch my business every single day, because otherwise, if I had peaks and troughs in my business, that's going to show up 2 or 3 months down the line. If I don't do anything this month, then I'm going to be quiet in January. So it's just keeping that consistency going. Mindset is everything. So I got out of my own way and started telling myself that I could do it. And that quote, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's so true. I would actually have a Range Rover on my screensaver, and I'd say to people, this is the car that I'm going to have. I'm getting this car in September. I had not got the income to get this car in September, but I tell people I was doing it as if it was the gospel truth, and I believed it, and it happened. Mindset is everything. I did a lot of Dave O'Connor. I think it was a year ago, the January after I started, I did a 6-month thing with Dave O'Connor, and I would listen to his blueprints every morning, every night for 10 minutes, and it's no coincidence that I was like, that was when my business grew the most. So yeah, mindset's everything. Anything that you can do to start your day right and end your day right, just do it. Clear your mind. I've got a really good app at the moment. It's called Headspace. I would recommend that to anyone. And it's a free app as well. So even if you don't want to invest in Dave or whatever, just download that. It's completely free, and there's like meditations that you can do, and it's just getting your mind in the right place. Next slide, please. Yeah, and the rest, so they say, is history, but the best is yet to come. So and again, if we skip to the next slide, so in the last 2 years, to say my life has changed is a complete understatement. So I've got on here a lot of the material things that you can see. So all the things that I wrote on my first steps to manager book when I had no idea what I was doing, they all came true. So I achieved manager within 6 months, which at that point then I'd replaced my income, so I never had to go and find another job. My Range Rover, so I ordered that in the April. I was earning about £1,500 a month at the time out of the business, which wasn't enough for me to have got that Range Rover, but I ordered it anyway. And then I said, oh, it'd be all right because I will earn enough by the September that I'll be able to pay for it by the time it comes. And then by the September, I was earning like £5 a month. I could have had a flipping Range Rover Sport, but if you see, just having the right mindset, so many things like that. I'll just tell you a little story now. So I used to do my Dave O'Connor every morning. And one of the blueprints is about visualization, and I used to visualize myself. It was at a time when I was a supervisor, so I wasn't anywhere near to achieving chairman's bonus. And I used to put my Dave O'Connor and visualise myself holding the check and Rex giving it me on the stage. And then I achieved, I don't think it's any coincidence that I achieved chairman's bonus within 12 months of starting the business, and I knew that it would be the next year that I got that check, and I got it. What else did I do that was weird? Just weird little things that I do and it works. You probably think I'm going mental now, but so when I got to manager, Maddie bought me a bottle of champagne and a little box of chocolates, and I put it in the fridge, and I told myself I wasn't to open the box, that champagne, until I achieved senior manager. So I achieved senior manager on like the 31st of July 2015, and they went out of date on the 1st of August. How spooky is that? I've got the next bottle of champagne. So Chelsea bought me a bottle of champagne when I got senior manager. I'm not allowed to open that until I get to soaring manager, but I'm an idiot. Why have I done that? Because it don't go out of date for 3 years. But anyway, spooky things. Just set yourself weird little goals. Get a dream board. I had it on my phone. I had a dream board. I don't have it on my phone anymore. I've just got one in my house. But I had one on my phone, one in my house. Everything that I wanted would be there, and I knew that I'd get it if I did that. Yeah, the Louis Vuitton, everything that I wanted came true. I took Mark to Hawaii last year, and I was able to pay him back because not pay him back, but he'd taken me on loads of holidays, so I wanted to do that for him, which I did, and that's that picture on the right-hand corner of that lovely infinity pool. So yeah, everything that I wanted happened, but these are all material things, and they're amazing and they're great, but that doesn't fulfill a person. That's just, if it was only material things that I chased in life, it would just never fulfill me, because it's just like, what's the next thing, what's the next thing, what's the next thing? So if we go on to my last slide here, this is the one that makes me cry. Oh God, here she goes. Sorry guys. I know that I'm rich because I've got so much that money. Oh God, sorry. I know that I'm rich because I've got so much that money can't buy. So what has forever really given me? It's given me like friendships like you would not believe. So I've mentioned Charlotte a few times. Thanks for the hearts, guys. So I've mentioned Charlotte a few times, and she worked on the desk opposite me, and me and Charlotte both left. So I left, and then a year later Charlotte left as well, and we've got the most amazing friendship, and I don't know where I'd be without her. And then I've mentioned Deb as well, and the friendship that we've got, and her coming to South Africa too with her 2 little girls. But also Becky Leyland. So Becky Leyland is literally my soulmate. She is my utter twin, and you can see her in this picture here. So before we went to South Africa, me, Becky, and our partners went to Dubai. So these are these pictures at the bottom of us in Dubai and South Africa. And the friendship that I've got there is literally like she's been my sister all my life. And it wasn't for forever. Look, if it wasn't for forever, I never would have met Becky. And there's just so many other people. What I've got in my team, like, money cannot buy that. Don't pay me a penny and I'll still be here doing forever. Like, aloe vera runs through my veins. What Rex has built and the ethics of the business and what he's actually built is just an amazing thing. And like, I appreciate it every single day. forever's given me confidence, and there's a picture there of me at masterclass, looking at my notes in the middle. And last January I spoke at masterclass. I think there was like 2,000-3,000 people there. That's something that I would never have done in my old job. I didn't, in the morning meetings there were 6 people there, and I used to put my head down and I wouldn't speak. It's just given me, and it's not just public speaking confidence, like confidence in myself to know that anything is possible in this business. Like anything's possible in life. Like this business is a platform to do so many other things. There's so many things that I want to do with my life now, and forever will always be a part of it, but it also opens up other doors to do other passions and things. What else? The people that I've met. So there's so many inspiring people in this business. Like who are my idols? So Faye Daly, she's in that picture at the bottom. I absolutely adore Faye Daly. Who else? You know, you've got Emma Cooper, Ange Lochran, Kim Madsen. He's an amazing man, and his story inspires me. But just so many normal people from ordinary backgrounds that are achieving amazing, amazing things, and being around those people just shows me what's possible. And I've just got so much confidence now. I don't need to rely on anyone, and it's just given me, it's helped me to find me. So when I started this business, I was a 23-year-old girl. I was lost. I didn't know where I was going in life. I didn't know what I was capable of. And now I'm a 26-year-old confident woman with the whole world at my feet. And again, none of it's to do with money. It's to do with what this business really gives us, which is things that are actually going to fulfill us. So yeah, I'm gibbering on now because I just love my life and I love forever. And I hope that in some way this story has helped you or given you something, or that you've taken something away from it. But if you have got, did anyone post any questions or anything, or are we good to go, Claire?
I'm not ever quite sure to know where to look, to be honest, Sophie, but what I'll do is I'm not going to lie, but if they do, then I'll message you, and I can always just post it on our team page later. But thank you so much. I've been crying with you. I've been laughing. I didn't realise I wasn't muted. You probably heard me laughing a few times. I'm sorry about the laughing bit. Honestly, you can tell why you're so successful. You're just amazing because you're so genuine. You can just tell when you're speaking, it's 100% you. You know, you're not pretending to be something you're not. It's just so genuine and so real. Honestly, I loved it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a good night.
Thanks, Sophie. See you later.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I have recorded it, so for the people that haven't been able to tune on, we'll pop that on the team page tomorrow. Don't forget Success Day on Friday at Atlantis, so it'd be lovely to see all of you there. And thank you, and I hope you enjoyed it, and good night.